Welcome, everyone. Good to see you all. If I can, there we go, get my panel up to actually see you. Hi. Let's check in as we greet each other here.
It's too dark in here.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
So let us know where you're coming from today and on a scale of 1 to 10, how your week has been. And we've been kind of talking that everybody's hitting their winter blues, I think. So feel free to explain your number or not. You can just give us how you are. And to help us have something to look forward to, we will be back at Sky Lake for the warm weather on March 20th. So we only have 3 more Sundays on Zoom. So just remember that. We will be wrapping up our time doing wild Zoom worship. And I think we're all ready to get back into the wild of nature. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment and also give you the opportunity now to continue to support what we're doing, not just by showing up with your lovely faces on Zoom or helping any of our other activities, but there's our online giving that you can support and help us keep going and growing. We are wintering our first season of cold and ice, and we're hoping to hit the ground running in the spring. But there's a lot of plates in the air. So all of the ways you support our community are so appreciated. And I am just having my first cup of coffee right now, so I may be saying wrong words the whole hour. We'll see what happens. But I'm so glad you're all here, and I'm glad I'm seeing like pretty high numbers. I felt very lethargic this week. I would say probably like a 6, just in terms of my energy level. But overall, it was a fine week. And we are continuing with our love letters series. So kind of are focusing to get us into a time of, oh yeah, and we're collecting, thank you, Marcia, for your props. We're collecting stamps, which I can show you more of later. Ooh, cute. They have lots of great stamps these days at the post office. But to focus us here today, it's not a poem and it's not a letter. It's from Zora Neale Hurston's autobiography, which is kind of, I feel like an autobiography is kind of your like love letter to the world in some ways. So you'll see why we're hearing from her as we go forward. But it's a great excerpt from her autobiography that's entitled Dust Tracks on a Road. And oh gosh, I don't have exact dates, but Zora Neale Hurston was like beginning of the 19th century. So even before 18.
No, I was thinking early 20th, but I could be totally wrong.
Or 1900s.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. I agree.
I said the wrong word again. So, the language is older, but still very, thank you, Hannah, still very understandable. So here, I'll share it again, and we can read along together. Zora Neale Hurston. I have had the corroding insight at times of recognizing that I am a bundle of sham and tinsel, honest metal and sincerity that cannot be untangled. My dross has given my other parts great sorrow. But on the other hand, I have given myself the pleasure of sunrises blooming out of oceans and sunsets drenching heaped up clouds. I have walked in storms with a crown of clouds about my head and the zigzag lightning playing through my fingers. The gods of the upper air have uncovered their faces to my eyes. I have made friends with trees and veils. I have found out that my real home is in the water, that the earth is only my stepmother. My old man, the sun, sired me out of the sea. I know that destruction and construction are but two faces of Dame Nature, and that it is nothing to her if I choose to make personal tragedy out of her unbreakable laws. So I ask of her few things. May I never do good consciously, nor evil unconsciously. Let my evil be known to me in advance of my acts, and my good when nature wills. May I be granted a just mind and a timely death. Now take friendship, for instance. It is a wonderful trade, a noble thing for anyone to work at. God made the world out of tough things so it could last, and then he made some juice out of the most interior and best things that he had and poured it around for flavor. Without the juice of friendship, I would not be even what I seem to be. So many people have stretched out their hands and helped me along my wander. With the eye of faith, some have beheld me at hell's dark door, with no rudder in my hand and no light in my heart, and steered me to a peace within. Some others have flown into that awful place west and south of old original hell, and with great compassion lifted me off of the blistering coals and showed me trees and flowers. All these are the powers and privileges of friendship. And today, Kristen is playing live for us.
Amazing. I don't know if you've heard the song Colors by Black Pumas. It was requested by Corey. It's a beautiful song. I highly recommend. They have a live version up on YouTube, but I'm gonna do my best to share this with you guys today in preparation for our time together today. I woke up to the morning sky first, baby blue just like we rehearsed. When I get up off this ground, I shake the leaves back down to the brown, brown, till I'm clean. And then I walk there shaded by the tree, fire meadow of green. For about a mile I'm headed to town, town, town. East side. Here's the fun part. With all my favorite colors and all my favorite colors. take me to the other side. Little bitty bird, blue flies, gray clouds, white walls, blue skies. We're gonna fly, feel alright, and we gonna ooh, yeah. It sounds like ooh, yeah. The least I can say, I anticipate a homecoming parade as we renegade in the morning with all my favorite colors and all my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers see them like no other. All my favorite colors. With all my favorite colors and all my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers see them like no other. All my favorite colors. Good day to be, good day for me, good day to see my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers, they see them like no other. All my favorite colors.
Ooh, woo. Love it. Thank you for that. And the first time I heard that song was on the radio. I was like, what is this? I looked it up and I just thought we got to do this for church sometime. So it fit perfectly for this Sunday, and I wasn't sure if Kristen would be willing, but I'm so glad. I have suggestions sometimes, and they're only suggestions. They're never requirements, but it was so great. Definitely check it out. We have our colors by group love. Yeah, we have a Spotify playlist for each month of the songs that we do in worship, so it's on there too. Okay, our wisdom. Here we go. So we're doing love letters, and this is a letter. And I'll share on my screen so you can read along with me. From Alice Walker, author, another Black female author, just as Zora Neale Hurston. She wrote to Derek Bell Jr. So it gives us a little background. Alice Walker is a renowned writer and feminist whose novel, The Color Purple, was awarded the Pulitzer Prize. Born to a sharecropping family in Eaton, Georgia, Walker attended Spelman College in Atlanta and graduated from Sarah Lawrence College. She worked in voter registration drives in the South during the Civil Rights Movement and was an editor for Ms. Magazine. An article she published in Ms. in 1975, In Search of Zora Neale Hurston, helped generate renewed interest in the life of and work of the Harlem Renaissance writer. So that's why I went to her for our focusing at the beginning. So here's the letter she wrote to Derek Bell, who also is a fellow author. And you can kind of see she references a book that he sent her. This was in May of 1986. Dear Derek, I have now read the Civil Rights Chronicles. It is brilliant. Never have I been so involved or even able to haltingly follow a legal/moral discussion based on the law and the courts. Truly, it is inspired work, and I thank you for your persistence in sending it to me. There have been many days when I haven't warmed to anything in my mailbox. You have those times, I'm sure. Also, all the world seems so awful. We're fine. Robert has jury duty for a month, a too typical case of a shopkeeper, Arab, an innocent bystander woman gunned down by brothers who caught show little, at least outward remorse. Depressing. Rebecca is wonderful, doing very progressive video pieces for a young people's program on Channel 4. Last month, an anti-nuke piece, really good, and now a piece on the homeless. She is driving now and has a boyfriend. Next year, she'll be a senior. Occasionally, she runs into Douglas, Belle's son. I am somewhere close to Geneva's trance, which is a reference to the allegorical story in Belle's book. At least today I am. Writing, of course, but very much in the silence, the waiting upon the voice, amazed to feel the pieces fall into place, so many answers. Is this understanding, which feels so much like what I imagined enlightenment to be like, merely a consequence of age plus experience, plus the ability to listen to oneself? The past year has had its stresses, yet to balance them, I've had some really sustaining thoughts about the universe, the reasons of our being. Like Geneva, I seem to have reached a different place of existence. So much that might once have had meaning is utterly meaningless to me now. I'd rather watch what the wind does to trees and grass, or lie in the sun, than listen to any speech, argument, or play imaginable. Derek, I am already living in eternity. It is because of the kinship I feel with the spirit of the Chronicles that I can tell you. Meanwhile, I cheer you on. It is always hard for me to think of travel, especially back east, but perhaps our paths will cross. I hope so. Ever drive through Mendocino? My love to Jewel, Belle's wife, and to you. You are a blessed person. Alice. So today we have a special nature connection moment that was pulled from a wonderful person, influencer's social media. So Rich is away celebrating his wife Erin's birthday, and I follow the amazing Queen work on Instagram and got some inspiration to find one of her videos that will help us connect with our topic and with nature. So here she is in all of her glory.
Hello, my name is Parker, aka Queenwork. Queen stands for Keep Widening Environmental Engagement Narratives. And I want to tell you what it means to me to hike my way. To me, getting outside and hiking is about reclaiming my roots and connecting with my ancestors. It's also about showing that there isn't just one way to enjoy outdoor spaces. You can wear whatever you want, you can hike, you can dance, you can sit under a tree and laugh. There are many reasons why people who look like me aren't represented in outdoor spaces. I admire groups like Outdoor Afro, which Smart Roll partners with, who have paved the way for reclaiming Black joy in outdoor spaces. I strive to reclaim my connection to nature with joy and to be happy in the skin that I am in. Holy moly! Like, tell me something! Tell me something! That is nature!
I love her. Definitely worth a follow. So, yes, she's the best. And I had to like dig down her real name because she is just only known as Queen Work everywhere. So it was, which actually makes it much easier, I'm sure, for her and for anyone looking for her, because she is a one and only. So we are, great recommendations in the chat. We are continuing this focus for the month of February on way back in the summer, as I was brainstorming with Valerie about worship ideas and themes, we said, let's do love letters for January or February. You know, that sounds fun. Connect it to Valentine's Day. Wonderful. Then I also realized, well, of course, February is Black History Month. So is there a way to connect these two things? Can we highlight love letters of one type or another from people in Black history? And so the first week of February, we of course had the letter, Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail, which might not think of as a love letter, but we talked about how it was written out of love for his colleagues and peers to wake up to his reality as a Black man in America at the time. And then I found a really awesome book called Letters from Black America, which you can't see unless it's in front of my face. So this book, it's pretty thick. It's got full of letters by Black Americans starting way back before early 1800s, I think, are the earliest letters. Late 1700s. So yeah, some even before America officially existed. And they range up until the 2000s. And there's so much rich history in there. And there's so much I could talk about, you know, the lost art of letter writing, the history that it leaves behind for us today, how lucky we are to be able to, it almost seems a little boyerish, especially for a letter that was written like in the 80s that we read today from one dear friend to another. But it's amazing that those are available for us to get that beautiful wisdom from that we heard. So today I primarily wanted to talk about one of my biggest growing edges in my anti-racist journey. And I was happy to find these incredible resources, these letters and writings that supported this topic for me today. And I talk about my anti-racist journey, and there's two things to note there, that we as white folks have been called by our Black siblings to be more than just not racist, to be anti-racist, to say, oh no, I'm not racist, is great, but are you doing anything to stop the systemic racism that continues to play out in all parts of our society? So to whatever effect we can, are we making progress in the places that we have influence? And of course, as people of privilege, we can use that even more to make these changes. So anti-racist, and it's a journey because it's lifelong work. I mean, it is so systemic. We are the fish in the water of white supremacy. We could hardly even notice it if it weren't for our Black siblings, you know, screaming it and getting our attention to say these things need to end. So it's going to be a lifelong journey because it's sort of born and bred into us, which is freeing in some ways. It's not our fault. We didn't choose it, but it's our responsibility to work to bring it to an end. And so really this concept of an anti-racist personal journey started for me probably back in 2018 when our conference for the United Methodists in upstate New York, who sort of organize us, they required all pastors to attend a 6-week workshop called Imagine No Racism. And I will admit, I was not excited about this. I knew I had white privilege. I followed, you know, what was going on in the world. I knew, you know, white supremacy, part of the problem, all of that. I didn't think there was more I had to learn, which was, it's hard to admit that because of course there's always more to learn. But I was a little annoyed that I was being forced to take the time to do this thing that, you know, what are they going to tell me? And we watched at least one video every week that we got together. They were all really good. There's something about, you know, videos that really help to bring it home. And I'll tell you, the thing that really stuck with me and woke me up from thinking I was woke was the last video we watched. It is from professor on race and theory, like critical race theory that has become a hot topic lately. Her name is Robin DiAngelo. So we watched this like 20-minute video, and I'm putting the link in the chat for you because truly I've watched it probably 10 times and I still get something out of it every time. And after watching it, I just thought, oh my gosh, every white person in America needs to watch this. The thing that really got me and still haunts me is that she was talking about how she really grew up in segregation. She's a white woman, middle class upbringing. She didn't have any Black teachers or mentors until she was an adult. And there just weren't really any people of color in her community that she had any opportunity to make connections with. And so she said, we can live our whole lives in segregation. We could easily never have any consistent, ongoing, authentic relationships with people of color. And the haunting part for me, not one person who guided me ever conveyed that there was a loss. And it struck me that I completely agreed with her statement. I too grew up a mostly segregated life, didn't have a Black professor until seminary, had a couple people of color as professors in college, but just never anyone said to me, you should seek out mentorship, friendship, wisdom from people of color, that you're missing out if you don't have that experience. And so I feel responsible now for giving that message to other people, that if you've never heard that in your life, that you're missing out if you don't have relationships with people of color and people from other ethnic backgrounds. Hear it now. We're missing out if we don't have those experiences and share those perspectives. And this, to me, is one reason why Black History Month is so necessary. It's just to remind us of all of the wisdom and excellence and contributions our Black siblings have made to our lives. I'm sure I knew this at one point or another, but just the other day, I saw a post again reminding everyone that a Black man was the one to develop ice cream making technology that we have today. And I said, thank God for that person, because what would I do without ice cream? You know, there's things definitely to be celebrated. But having personal Black mentors, friends, that's what's going to help us move from celebrating Black excellence to also demanding equal treatment for Black bodies, no matter how they behave, right? It's those personal relationships that make us realize, well, no, nobody should be shot out of suspicion. You know, nobody should be pinned to the ground and cuffed just for being afraid of what's happening in a situation. Like, it's having those personal relationships that help to open our eyes to the bigger issues at play. So this is my biggest growing edge, and I offer it to us as continued inspiration. I know it's hard because we, of course, want relationships to be mutual and genuine. You know, we don't want to like tokenize people just to say we have a Black friend or mentor. So it really takes the work of being intentional and open to building these relationships. But I was also really glad to see one of Queen Work's videos recently was her saying, listen, white folks, nobody wants your guilt. Like, take those feelings of guilt and channel it into righteous rage and show up and line up with us and work together. You know, she's saying, we don't want you to feel bad about being white. We don't want you to feel guilty. Channel it into the energy of demanding change. So I hope you will hear that message if you hold any white guilt, and release it, as I have been working on as well. And I hope that, you know, as we continue this journey, no matter where any of us are individually, that we as a community, Church in the Wild, is committed to this work. So you're not doing it alone. I know I'm not doing it alone. And we can keep encouraging one another to, I think, do the important work of calling out the lies of white supremacy, even when we hear them from mouths of well-meaning people. And we can together use our collective privilege, our voice, our bodies even, to disrupt and deflect the harm that's done to our Black siblings. So I hope we can find good friends from all walks of life, and that we can continue to learn and grow, and together work towards the anti-racist society that we need. And that's one of the goals of Church in the Wild, is to follow the spirit towards restoration, to restore the order of the natural world. That is justice and equality. So thank you for being on this journey with me and being supporters of the work that we do together. And now it's time to meditate.
Hi, everyone. Do we have a pretty picture that we can use today? It's okay if we don't. As Corey looks to see when we'll do that, we might be closing our eyes anyway. So I invite you all during this time of meditation to find a comfortable but dignified posture you can hold for the next few minutes. And take a moment to check in with your body. Scanning slowly down from the top of your head, through your brow, the area around your eyes, your jaw, your lips, your neck and throat, your chest, your shoulders, your upper back and mid back, your upper arms and lower arms, your belly, your hips, your upper legs, your lower legs, down to your feet. Not trying to change anything, just seeing where you are right now. At this time, I invite you to bring your awareness to the breath, finding that moment in the breath that's easiest to rest your attention on, that's most salient to you. It could be where the air is entering between your lips or the tip of your nose. It could be the sensation of air rushing through your throat, the rising and falling of the chest, or the expansion of the belly. Wherever it's simplest to keep your focused, take some time to stay present with your breath. If your mind has wandered from the breath, that's very common. Perhaps your attention has been pulled away by a stream of thoughts, or your body has been calling for your attention, a sense of discomfort or tiredness. Acknowledge that thinking or that sensation, and let that go to return your awareness to your breath. If your mind has wandered again, that's okay. It doesn't matter how many times your attention may wander. It's just important to notice that it's happening and bring your awareness back to the present moment. You're welcome to continue sitting in restful awareness. You're also invited to join me in asking a reflective question at this time. It might help to think of asking this question not to yourself, but to a dear friend, with no expectation of a particular answer. I invite you to ask this question. Where has your heart become hard? Not hard like a strong muscle, but like a callus. Where has your heart become hard? The answer might arise in words or an image, maybe a memory or a sensation, or you might not feel any answer at this time. I invite you to continue sitting with this question. Where has your heart become hard? And at this time, if you feel called to do so, I invite you to ask this following question. What can soften your heart? What can soften your heart? Whatever answer has arisen, I invite you at this time to let that go and to take a moment to thank the spirit inside you that's offered this insight or who has abided with you during this practice. If it feels right, offer some words of gratitude now. I invite you now to bring your awareness back to your body and the room where you're sitting. Noticing the sounds around you, the smell and sensation of the air, the feeling of the weight of your seat and your resting hands. And whenever you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes.
Thank you, Valerie. And we want to give everyone an opportunity to say thanks, to share what you're particularly grateful for this week. I am so grateful for all the great comments and sharing resources in the chat. It's really awesome to pool our knowledge and connections together. So tell us what you're grateful for this week, whatever it might be. I feel like every Sunday I am able to remember and realize how much lighter it is outside at the same time of day. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm very grateful for folks who are working behind the scenes to continue to offer all that we can, all that we're working to offer. So as I said, we are getting ready to go back to Sky Lake on March 20th. And the plan is that we will provide transportation with a borrowed van from another church that first Sunday, March 20th. And then the first Sunday of every month following. So if you're in need of transportation, know that we're at least going to have it on the first Sunday of every month. And if you are able to drive even once in the next year on one of those first Sundays, if you look at your calendar, please let me know. We could use a few more folks who are able to drive the van on a first Sunday. You would pick it up in Endicott and meet folks there, or pick a couple up along the way and then drop it back off and drive home. So it would be a huge help for several people who could use a ride. So if anybody is able to, let me know. And we don't yet have anyone lined up for that March 20th date, which is an important one. So let me know if you're available then. I am super grateful for all of these stamps that have come in for our stamp drive. Between the funds that were sent to us and people sending stamps, we've already gotten this many, which is amazing. I know that there's more out there, as we saw from Marcia and others that'll be coming in by the end of the month. I am assuming I will get some from folks at the Garden Bowl, which is coming up next weekend. And I know you can see my screen, but I'm just popping over here to get the link because we have a team for the Garden Bowl and we are raising money to support vines. So the Garden Bowl funds that are raised go to all of the like scholarships basically that Vines has for their farm share. So they provide discounted or free farm shares to income qualifying folks throughout the Southern Tier. And this fundraiser supports that fund that they use for those scholarships. So we've already surpassed the $100 goal that Vines asks us to raise, but we're aiming for $250. So you can support the Wild Things bowling team by donating at that link and help support getting fresh veggies to everyone who wants them. Now we also have the chance to share our intentions for the week ahead. A word, a phrase, an idea, whatever it might be that you want to guide you for the next 7 days. Feel free to pop that in the chat, and that will hopefully inspire us all. I think I need to focus. I think that's going to be my word, is to get focused. Hopefully come out of the winter blues and get ready to embrace spring. Great one, Justin. Yeah, something about the winter, I feel like we all kind of go in hibernation, and I've been thinking that same thing, Maureen. Gotta reach out. Intention is intention. I love it. That's very important. And Hannah was actually asking at the beginning, what's our series going to be for March? And that's kind of, intention is kind of going to be where we go. Talking spiritual practices. How do we build our spiritual lives so that they are a part of our everyday lives too? I love delegate. That's my favorite word. Oh yeah, trust the process always. Oh, that's great, Hannah. I'm glad. That's refreshing. I've thought about it. I think it's actually been sunnier here this winter than it has been in past winters. I feel like we have had some winters where it was like weeks without seeing the sun. So I'm grateful it's been sunny. Yeah, super cold, but sunny. So now I hope you'll live intentionally, no matter what word or phrase you've chosen, and feel free to stay if you can to chat. But now I invite you to receive, partake, participate in our closing blessing, and then we'll have Kristen sing us out. So receive this blessing of deep peace, of running wave to you, deep peace of flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the source of peace be with you.
All right, it's time for our last song for worship today. Again, if you have an instrument hanging around, whether that's a shaker, your knees, or an instrument that you like to play in the key of C, feel free to join us for our final song, Peace, Salaam, Shalom.